The views expressed by the guests on this podcast are not necessarily those of Biff and Ted's Excellent Podcast Adventure. Listener discretion is advised.
You've just tuned in to the greatest podcast in the universe.
We're gonna wipe all that controversy out.
The cream of the crop.
Like an absolute savage!
And there is no one that does it better.
When I die, it'll be here or on top of a wild woman.
The cream will rise to the top.
Live from the ladies' mansion. No. Live from the manliest mansion now. Live from the wing mansion. It is Biff and Ted's Excellent Podcast Adventure!
We're back! And we have a very special guest today. A very special edition of the episode today. This is the Beyond Wrestling preview show for the big Feeding Frenzy show coming up. And I tell you, what's the date of that show again?
It's going to be on February 16th at Club Fet.
And that being said, who is our special guest today?
We've got the man, not the state. Denver, Colorado. The man at the place. The man at the place. That was close enough.
Hey, you're back!
I'm back.
I have a very special,
I can barely hear the song right now.
I have a very special surprise for you. So you're here today, and I thought nothing would be more appropriate than to play this for you.
Nerd alert!
And of course you have that on your phone.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know either.
I'm just kidding, but it's very good to have
What
you
is
here
it though? What did he?
It's a nerd.
I'll do it one more time. Ready?
Nerd alert!
What is that from?
Austin Powers.
Who the fuck watches that movie?
All right. Well, anyway, today is a special edition of the podcast that we are actually going to go over the big show. Feeding Frenzy.
Do you ever run like run-of-the-mill podcasts that aren't special?
Yeah.
This one's extra special because a former resident of the Wing Mansion is here. My former roommate and one-time manager for Punk Rock Pro Wrestling, Ned.
Did you sell him a ticket yet?
No.
I'm not comping him to the show.
And Ned knows, like we were talking, this could be interesting because Ned knows a little bit about independent professional wrestling. Not too much, but just enough to probably add to this conversation a little bit. So
I know just about enough to make people and nerds of wrestling mad that I don't know these things.
So
who is your favorite independent wrestler?
Independent wrestler, geez, I would have to say, God, I'd say Biff Busick. But no.
Wow.
Nah, he likes to fake injuries like a knee injury. So
It's just an excuse to not take a shower for a week.
Who am I, the Hot Break Kid?
Yeah, he fakes in and out of the ring, so.
What do you do to fake out of the ring?
Oh, yeah, I know. So, I'd say the ladies' man.
oh, sweet.
Just because I don't like to watch wrestling, I just like to hear banter. And with the ladies' man, he's in the ring about maybe an eighth of the time.
Now, why don't you like to watch wrestling?
It's something about just like, bad experiences with men, in locker rooms.
Ned actually has a victory in professional wrestling. He's pinned he's made one person say uncle in a ring at a show, and you know who that person was?
The unsure thing, Mark Sherman. Yeah, he doesn't want a rematch, and that's okay because he doesn't deserve one.
Ned thought he was Brickhouse Baker because we're doing an 8-man. He goes, "Hey, how long has this guy been working?" I'm like, "I don't know, 20 years. Just don't worry about it." He was talking about Ned. Ned threw him in like a sleeper. He was out like a little.
Seeing I'm 29, that makes a lot of sense. So Mark Sherman's not exactly.
That's who
too
Teddy
bright.
teams with at Beyond Wrestling. Him and Mark Sherman are a tag team.
Do they have a matchup here on wrestling?
What's that?
We're appearing in some form or fashion.
They wrestled Tabernacle team at Point of No Return, and they were in the Gauntlet at Tournament for Honor too.
I want to jump right into things. I want to debut what exactly the Feeding Frenzy is.
Okay, what the Feeding Frenzy is. Sure, yeah, and we haven't announced yet, so I guess we'll do this. Man, this episode really is special.
It is.
All right, so the Feeding Frenzy match. It's going to be 4 teams against 4 teams in an elimination-style match.
So it's an 8-man tag team elimination match.
But, let's say, for instance, you or your partner is pinned, then your team is eliminated from your team. So, think about it,
So if Biff teams, let's say Ned, and Ned gets pinned, Biff is out.
Biff is out, too. So then all of a sudden we're down to 8-on-6.
So it's a 16-man, 8-team tag team elimination.
Now, see, I feel like now you've overcomplicated it.
But it's 16 men.
That is exactly what it is.
So there's going to be 16 men in a ring at the same time.
I mean, it's kind of like a tag team Survivor Series, but we can't call it that.
Now will
So we called it the Feeding Frenzy.
I like it.
will the competitors be named ahead of time or that evening?
No, we will start announcing them immediately. So as soon as this podcast goes up, I will announce the first team.
Do you have
Could
any
we
team?
break
Let's
one
announce a team
tonight?
right now.
I mean, we could play a little drum roll.
The first team announced for the Feeding Frenzy is the Whaling City Wrecking Crew.
Wow, Ned, you're familiar with those guys.
Nightmare Nick Steele.
I think so. Weren't they separated for a while? What's up with that?
I don't know.
No?
The divorce is
Yeah, separated.
No, they haven't teamed in a couple of months, I don't
That's
think.
what I'm saying. See, I know stuff. Come on.
Ned reads the sheets.
Yeah, I read the Cliff Notes.
I love those guys, though. Two big, bad, beat-em-up legends of New England.
And their only match in Beyond Wrestling was against me and Mark, the unsure thing, Sherman.
And that was my dad's favorite match in Beyond Wrestling history. And he always says, when are you going to have those guys back? And then he asked to the point where he got to know them by name. When are you going to have the Whaling City Wrecking Crew?
Wow.
So, Dad, thanks for helping out in the kitchen. This one's for you.
They're like the old school brutes, kind of like,
You need guys like that. You need guys like that. Beyond Wrestling, sometimes the roster is a little bit too unbalanced, too many newcomers, and sometimes it's nice to have to bring that stability, that dependability when you've got a tag team like the Whaling City Wrecking Crew. Because you know exactly what you're going to get. Two big dudes fucking shit up.
Someone's getting
in a bar setting.
In a bar setting. So, drink up Nick Steele, drink up Vane, before, during, and after. Those guys are going to have a good time. I like having them around.
Is that the only team you're giving us? Are you going to give us any other teams that are in it?
All right, so
How
they're
about one on the opposing team?
One on the opposing team. EYFBO is going to be returning to tag team action after a number of months off. Mike Drastic, he's been given clearance by the doctors.
What happened to him?
He broke his back.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah. So,
language.
You know, I don't know how good of an idea it's to come back and enter yourself into the feeding frenzy.
His back?
I don't even know.
I don't know how you broke your little knee over there.
I did not break anything.
I mean, what do you want me to do?
He actually broke it in a match with
the unsure thing, Mark Sherman.
How did he break his back?
It's just a general wear and tear. He didn't break his back. I think he slipped a disc.
Ooh.
So just a few bad bumps. That's enough to do it. So I'm sure you got a few slip discs too. You just won't go get checked out. Up and down, from the Ruta to the Tuta.
I like that.
I bet your ribs are all out of place.
So we got the EFYBO.
No, EYFBO.
The Electric Light
You don't
Orchestra?
even know who those guys are.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, wait, hold on. Before you tell us
probably
exactly
didn't
who,
shake their
Ned, do
hand
you know
at
what that
tapings.
stands for?
It's a stupid acronym, but who is it? I don't know.
Nobody knows what it stands for. It's like
Elegant Fighters.
No, it's
Young.
EYFBO.
Oh.
The Elegant Young Fighters
of
Beyond.
Oh, wow.
Whoa, so how far beyond are we talking here? Are we talking
No.
Wrestling.
No, that's EYOBF.
Yeah,
No, fuck. It's so hard.
Beyond Wrestling show? I don't know if I have.
Has that ever been?
No, I think he's going to this one.
If you had to explain a Beyond Wrestling show to someone who's never been to a Beyond Wrestling show before, how would you explain it?
Damn, if I was able to do that, we'd be selling out every show, because our shows are good.
Well, fucking explain it to his new family.
All right, Ned. Beyond Wrestling is like... Imagine a situation where everything you thought you knew about wrestling, all of these preconceived notions, could be eliminated over the course of a 5-hour show.
Wow, 5 hours.
5 hours. But there's a bar. There's a bar.
It's good value.
Wow.
Check it out. Let me explain to you the experience. Not to spoiler alert, but you pull up to this building. It's in the middle of Oneyville.
Great.
There is outside a big yellow truck with a luchador mask on it, representing Championship Melt, a Providence-based gourmet grilled cheese food truck. They're going to be serving you food before you come into the building.
Whoa. You had me at food truck. And Wes is
It is called Feeding
Wes is
Frenzy.
right
And
over
you know,
there.
I'll probably just go because next to the Fet, and they got that sidebar room to wait out, and they got the full-on bar in the back there.
So you've been to FET.
I've been to Fet.
You know it's a state-of-the-art facility.
It's wonderful.
Top-notch lighting and sound.
It's wonderful.
Okay?
It looks like a Victorian palace.
I think that's the most accurate way to describe it.
Yeah.
Then we got my mother and my father. They were in the kitchen. So
Wow.
So after you've eaten, we expect you to eat again.
That's why it's called Feeding Frenzy.
And that is partially why it's called Feeding Frenzy.
Because I was going to ask if you guys were getting any food for it, or if you had to, eat a hamburger before, you threw some guy over. I don't know.
The food is just as big of a part of it as the wrestling itself. And then we've got the top up-and-coming wrestlers from around the country with no restrictions. You put them out there, and you let them do their thing. It's not the type of situation where, you're going and there's this complicated lineup in the back where it's like, you have to complete X, Y, and Z objective. The objective is to go out there and have the best match that you can. And one thing that we do at Beyond Wrestling that's unique from any other organization is the wrestlers stay ringside for all the matches. They're not in the locker room.
Right, so no guardrails or anything.
No guardrails or anything, but it's cool because then, like, you know, let's say you didn't know Biff Busick, but you just saw him have this sick match. Like, you could go up to him and be like, while he's watching somebody else's match, like, hey, man, I really liked it, or, hey, I really didn't like it. I don't think that happens much, though, when Biff wrestles.
Just don't talk to me, okay?
So it's like oiled up, like, kind of like,
I don't know.
When Biff wrestles, it's oiled up.
No, I do not oil. I use no oil.
Really? Not even on that Jerry
Then
on the front of your chest?
What's that gleam that covers your body?
Kenny oils.
All right, you guys are on the wrong podcast, I think. Let's get going with the card here.
And then, wait a minute.
Yeah,
and then the best part is that Revival Brewing is providing free beer samples to anyone 21 or older. We could be putting on a donkey show if it's free beer. People are going to be coming.
And let's put it this way, they were there on Halloween. We had a little thing going at Church of Providence, and I had a few too many samples, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't really know what you're saying, but I think that Revival Beer is a fantastic company.
And for Ned, can you please just tell him one of the most delicious items on the menu, so if he wants to go to get his little tummy ready for it?
One of the most popular items are the buffalo chicken egg rolls.
Wow.
But we also have these items called walking tacos. There's like a crushed up bag of Doritos with like chili and cheese, and you eat it right out of the bag.
That's out on the Atkins diet, isn't it? No carbs or anything?
People with diets don't come to our shows.
Well, I think we got a good idea of what Beyond Wrestling is all about. Now,
Oiled up dudes, food, and beer.
Never a bad time with the Fett.
Now let's go over some of the other matches. What else we got on?
You want to jump right into the matches?
Well, what the fuck else do you want to talk about?
Language.
I don't know.
I'd like to jump right into the matches.
All right. Well, let's talk about the headlining match.
We talked about Feeding Frenzy. Let's do that. You want to go right to the main event first?
Talk about the headlining match. You're here. Well, I want to hear you talk about it. I want to know your thoughts going into it because this isn't what we had originally discussed as far as when we were putting together the lineup.
Wow, what did we originally discuss?
I think you and Gulak were supposed to be teaming on the show.
I think I heard rumors of that too. But for everyone out there that doesn't know, this is the first time ever bout.
First time ever. It's Biff Busick and Kevin Steen. In my opinion, the best wrestler on the Beyond Wrestling roster, whether or not his win-loss record reflects it, and the best wrestler on the indies right now, Kevin Steen. And of course, in the background, you hear Biff adjusting his his bandages because he's so beat up because he wrestles hour-long Iron Man matches that he unwillingly challenges his opponents to because he loves wrestling, and he loves to wrestle. And when I see somebody like Biff and I see somebody like Steen, let them share their passion in their ring. It's going to be an awesome match.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think Kevin Steen, like you said, he's probably one of the best wrestlers on the independent scene right now, so it's going to be a fun match.
Right, no personal animosity. There's no bad blood brewing. You guys are just two of the best. You know, let them loose. Have at it.
Are we gonna have to get more Velcro for a neck brace in case you're a recipient of that package pile driver Mr. Steen likes to deliver?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he's gonna need a neck brace after my half and half suplex.
Wow! You think you can get him up?
Oh, hey. I have faith.
Wow.
So maybe a neck brace on a pole match?
We've seen Steen have some pretty crazy matches at Beyond Wrestling. This is only going to be his third ever appearance.
What were his other matches?
He wrestled Masada at American Rana.
He wrestled Dirty Daddy
And he wrestled Dirty Daddy at the opening match because they did not want to wait at Point of No Return.
He beat the shit out of him.
Those guys were fighting on the stage. They were... it's a complete... Anytime that Kevin Steen comes, it's going to be a complete mess in the best possible way because he has absolutely no self-control. And he is going to do a lot of bad things to you.
I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely gonna be fun.
Now, here's a question for you: who do you think is going to get a better ovation? Because you're a god in that building, but Kevin Steen is a god everywhere else in the world.
I think we will both get good ovations. The Beyond crowd is probably one of my favorite crowds to wrestle in front of because the whole time they're into the show. So I mean,
and we've really put him to the test at Tournament for Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, like you said, 5-hour shows, and they're into it.
We made him sit through women's matches too.
Oh yeah.
I love women's matches, except usually I don't.
Oh, that
Any
was cool.
women's matches?
Kimberly's going to be wrestling Drew Gulak.
Whoa.
So you just insulted Drew Gulak. You called him a girl.
No, intergender. I enjoy intergender wrestling.
No, honestly, it was the first time we'd really presented women's wrestling at Tournament for Tomorrow, and the crowd was super respectful about it. It could be the type of thing where it's like, what you see on TV with the divas, you're going to write it off immediately. But that's the thing that I love about Beyond Wrestling is that our fans know that we're an experimental wrestling promotion. We're going to try new things. It's not going to work all the time, but they're not going to turn their back on Beyond. For every, shot that hits the mark, we have a couple misfires.
Can I ask super fan Ned over here a question? What do you think about women in wrestling?
Geez. I think it's not very good.
Wow.
Well,
You're basing this off mostly WWE wrestling.
right,
correct? Yeah.
right. You know, the funny thing is, like, you know, when you can catch on, you know, if TNA's even still on anymore with all the cruds going on. But, well, I've heard things through the wrestling grapevine, you know, on the blogs.
Ned newsletter.
You called me Gene's hotline?
Yeah. And surprisingly, you know, some of the people on that Impact are taking a little more bumps and bruises, you know what I mean? They're trying to do something, even though it's not exactly the most interesting to watch. But, you know, I think it's a glorified fashion show pretty much these days.
Oh, you're throwing out bombs over
Well,
there.
you know,
How would you describe WWE women's wrestling in one word?
I think it. You know, I think what sucked about the whole thing is they took away the women's championship and they kind of like made these girls, you know, turn to the Divas Championship, you know, and I think it, you know, kind of took away from all that because I remember watching during like the Attitude Era and stuff when I used to watch wrestling a lot, and they got like Sable and stuff like that. And then
Hell of a mat technician.
Yeah, well maybe, you know. And then Trish Stratus is pretty hot. And,
How about Sapphire?
But probably not since
I don't even know what that is.
Dusty Rhodes' manager?
I knew who it was. I don't watch wrestling.
I think it's just getting made weaker. I mean,
She didn't wrestle, though.
Independent wrestling, I've seen some matches, and some of the girls are pretty look like they can do some.
Let me ask you this: has Drew Gulak wrestled a woman before? Because I think I've maybe seen him in some mixed tag action or something.
Yeah, he did Queen and King tournament last year for WSU and CGW. Most recently at our studio taping at the CGW Academy, he had a match against Christina Von Eerie.
So he's not afraid to strike a woman.
He could care less. I think that he likes it. No, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far.
Spirit of competition.
Exactly. That's the thing. And, you know, it's funny that you just mentioned this, kind of like how they took away the women's wrestling division and rebranded it as the Divas. I think that that's kind of like marketing at its worst because now they're sort of pigeonholing like what the possibilities are, is how they can present you know, these female competitors. Like before, it's like you have a men's division, you have a women's division, but they're both wrestlers. And now it's kind of like you have superstars and you have divas. And it's interesting, Teddy, that you bring up the point, like, you know, is Gulak afraid to hit a woman? I think this is where Beyond Wrestling has been really progressive. Like, I don't even evaluate it as men's wrestling and women's wrestling. It's just wrestlers. Mm-hmm. And when you look at somebody like Kimberly, who at the last studio taping, excuse me. Ooh, I'm burping because of the energizing black cherry with just the right amount of kick that I had from Mountain Dew Kickstarter.
Ew.
Anyway, at the last studio taping, Jaka wrestled Kimberly, and they beat the hell out of each other. Kimberly's super tough, and normally we see her alongside Drew Gulak, partners in the campaign for a better Combat Zone. But hey, guess what? At Feeding Frenzy, it ain't Combat Zone wrestling. It's Beyond Wrestling. Kimberly, Drew Gulak, two of the fan favorites. Drew Gulak, the number one ranked wrestler on the roster. Kimberly arguably had the biggest breakout performance at Tournament for Tomorrow 2. Is she going to be able to continue with that upward momentum? Or is Drew Gulak going to put an end to it? Like, those are the matches that I want to see.
And
I hope the fans want to see him too.
I think they will.
If you do buy tickets at lookmonofans.com.
Do you enjoy intergender wrestling?
Have you ever seen a guy versus girl match one-on-one?
I have not.
Ooh, maybe when you come to the Beyond Wrestling show, you can.
We gotta get Ned down there. Yeah, he said he was gonna come to this one. He'll be there.
Yeah.
He'll probably be by the Revival free samples booth all night. But
Right. I want to make sure that it's good enough, you know, room temperature.
Of course,
It can never be fun. Yeah,
so we mentioned Beyond Wrestling likes to do a lot of things that other companies don't, and I was looking at the headline. You know, I shouldn't say the headline, but some of the matches on the website. Biff, of course, you were one of the top ones with Mr. Steen, but I saw something on the bottom called Battle of the Bulges.
Whoa. I don't know if I want to go now. What is it?
So, for the first time ever, Johnny Cockstrong and Sexy Eddie are going to go one-on-one.
Johnny Cockstrong is my dad's favorite wrestler.
It's so funny.
He also looks like Steve Ricard.
Dude, like, imagine if we were our dad's, like, oh, my dad's favorite wrestler is the Wailing City Wrecking Crew. Like, your dad's favorite wrestler is Johnny Cockstrong. And, like,
my dad's favorite wrestler was the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh,
but if he came to Beyond Wrestling,
Yeah.
where we don't book the Honky Tonk Man, I'd like to know what he would think of the proceedings.
Probably like Wailing City Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like those guys are, like, super relatable. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, like, these two... You look at them and it's instant credibility. The story tells itself. Some of the guys have to work a little bit harder. Johnny Cockstrong, you look at him, he's a little bit plain. You wouldn't know he's a bit of a deviant.
Oh.
But he puts on those trunks, he puts on the cape, and all of a sudden he's a superhero.
Yeah,
Johnny
you
Cockstrong...
explain to Ned who Johnny Cockstrong is?
All right. Johnny Cockstrong is a superhero-based wrestler whose superpower is his strong cock. So he
Chicken,
uses it,
fowl, or member?
his member, which he uses as a weapon against his opponents.
Wow. So this isn't G-rated then stuff.
No.
I wouldn't take
But kids come to
my
the
nephew
show.
there.
You know what? Kids come to the show and it's just like, I don't know. Like, who am I to determine what is and isn't inappropriate? You know, it's really funny. For a long period of time, I I actually stopped watching wrestling in the mid-90s.
I'm
We're
sorry.
just showing Ned a picture of Mr. Cockstrong so he has an idea what we're
What
describing.
are on those tights?
It just says like Cockstrong. But I mean, obviously it's...
Looks like it's trying to accentuate his member.
Exactly.
There's actually a rooster on the side of his tights. Making a muscle.
But as far as determining what is and isn't appropriate for the children, let me put this into perspective. When WWE started running, or WWF back in the day, started running those ads like viewer discretion advised, my parents never told me, oh, Andrew, you shouldn't be watching this. Yeah. I myself determined, well, maybe if I'm seeing these warnings, maybe I shouldn't be watching this. But I'm sure my parents didn't give a shit. Yeah. Because let's face it, when you're an adult and you know all the bad things that happen in the world, you know it's just a matter of time before your kids are going to know. You know, there's that one guy, Prickly Pete, he comes with all of his daughters, and like... We're going to be watching a little bit more Cockstrong footage in the background.
Dad, this is one of Johnny Cockstrong's moves. I'm not sure quite what it's called.
What is this? Is he a very flamboyant kind of wrestler?
It's the stop, cock, and roll.
That was like so long.
But
it was like... It was uncomfortable to watch.
Well, he's going to do it one more time, so...
I swear that's Steve Ricard.
Is this Steve Ricard? Is it really?
It looks just like him.
Oh my god, it looks just like him. I could see Steve Ricard doing that too.
He enjoys it way too much. But anyway, long story short, it's not up to me to determine what is or isn't appropriate for the audience. If somebody comes once and they determine it's not appropriate, I guess it's up to them at that point.
What's the chances there are going to be a couple of dick jokes in this match?
What are the chances that we're going to see an actual dick live and in person? That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about. Because I'll tell you what, when I came up in Cleveland, they had a show with Jake the Snake Roberts on it when he was all fucked up, and he pulled his dick out for the crowd. And then like that company almost was never able to run again. So I'm sure we'll be able to.
Did he put it all over the guy's face after the DDT? And
he held it like a snake. I don't know what happened.
I bet Jake had quite the snake, if you know what I'm talking about.
He probably
I don't really
did.
know what you're talking about, but that's sick.
You know, Johnny Cockstrong is our resident cockmeister, and fucking Sexy Eddie, a legend of independent wrestling.
Has he ever been to Beyond?
He's never been to Beyond.
I wrestled Sexy Eddie once a couple of months ago.
And how was he billed with 5 pounds of cock meat? No, you wrestled him at XWA, a family promotion.
Yes, it was very awkward.
So, you know, I feel weird. My mom and dad are at the show, you know what I mean? But it's entertainment. It's funny. Let's face it. Dick jokes are universal, and this match is the king of all dick jokes.
So Cockstrong versus Sexy Eddie in a battle of the Bulge.
I love it. I'm only the type of match you can... Because a lot of times, too, when you go to places that do comedy, like, oh, it's taboo to do anything that might be inappropriate, you know? Like, it's got to be family-friendly. Like, fuck it. No. Like, dick jokes are really funny.
We just saw the stop, cock, and roll.
Yeah, we did.
It was actually on Dan Barry, a Beyond Wrestling clip on YouTube that you can watch for absolutely free, no cost whatsoever.
Wow. That's youtube.com/Beyond Wrestling.
Speaking of Dan Barry, I believe he's also on the card teaming up with Bill Carr, a.k.a. Team Tremendous, if you want to tell us a little about that match, which I believe has Australian rules.
What the fuck is Australian rules?
All right, I have to come up with like a clever title for each of the matches, and like technically every single tag team match is contested under Australian rules.
That's true.
So a bunch of people hit me up like, "What does this mean?" Like,
Ned, do you know Australian rules?
Did you know that?
Well, I like Australia, and you know, there's Crocodile Dundee rules.
All right, Ned, let me ask you something.
So there's knives.
If any wrestler you could transform into a kangaroo and stay in their pouch, which wrestler's pouch would you
I'd have to make sure I could fit. So you would have... Oh, God, you don't want it to be smelly. So it can't be... I don't know. That's a really good question.
Come on, Ned. There's going to be
Maybe
someone...
Spike Dudley's.
Wow!
I just kind of want to see what it looks like, you know, if he falls over.
You're worried about fitting. He's going to have the smallest pouch of any kangaroo.
I was going to do something, you know, I could fit into that one something more comical now.
Well, we can't get kangaroos, so I think everyone should maybe wear a fanny pack in this match. That'll be close.
Yes. A fanny fight.
Imagine that, a match where everybody gets to wear a fanny pack and gets to put one weapon in.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
What would you do? What would you put? Brass knuckles, right? That's got to be the number one weapon.
Put a bag of powder.
Yeah. Oh, you love the powder.
Yep.
I'd bring some snacks in case I got hungry.
I'd probably put a gun.
Well, come on.
Oh yeah, you'd probably win off that.
Are you crazy,
lightsaber.
bro?
How about a blackjack?
I don't, like a slap. Like
Yeah,
a slap.
slapstick.
Or maybe like a bunch of like hog slammers.
No, like a blackjack mulligan figure.
What about a taser?
Yeah.
Or like rocks.
Wait a minute.
Could you fit a taser in a fanny pack? I've never seen a taser in person.
Yes,
No, you probably
fit
could,
one.
yeah.
A taser's about yay big, about 6 inches.
Yeah, cell phone
Do we
size
explain who Bill Carr did Barry Wrestling?
No, we didn't even get to it. We were talking about Australia.
Yeah.
Whose pouch would you rest in?
I would rest in Sable.
Yup.
No, I'm sorry, not Sable.
other
Sonny's
one.
circa 1997.
Sonny's pouch.
Yeah.
Wow, I wasn't even thinking about female wrestlers.
Wow, the people at home were like, "What was that noise?" They knew it wasn't the sound of a high five.
Johnny Cockstrong's here.
It's pulling his bud. The Team Tremendous, Dan Barry and Bill Carr, one of the premier tag teams in Beyond Wrestling. And you've noticed that they've been able to break out of the pack because they won the tag team gauntlet at Tournament for Tomorrow 2.
Yep.
So all these other teams are going to be forced to endure the feeding frenzy where their lives are going to be at risk. Team Tremendous has been rewarded with a chance to go 1-on-1, 2-on-2, Australian rules, with the Beaver Boys.
Ooh, I'm very familiar with these. These are some CZW mainstays.
The CZW Tag Team Champions.
Mr. Johnny Silver.
Johnny Silver, always hilarious, completely strong.
And Mr. Alex Reynolds.
Alex Reynolds making his Beyond Wrestling debut. And I think that this match is going to have an awesome dichotomy because both of these teams are very entertaining, but all four of these competitors are super skilled wrestlers. Dan Barry, a veteran high flyer for a number of years that has bestowed his knowledge to the likes of Kurt Hawkins and Trent Beretta and Zack Ryder. And then Bill Carr.
Zack Ryder, nice guy.
Ned.
How does Ned know?
Well, I can't comment. Yeah, not enough information.
The only wrestler I ever met was Hornswoggle. That was at WrestleCon.
I was there for that.
Yeah.
Is he bigger
What do
in
you
person?
mean the only wrestler you've ever met?
Not for nothing. He's got a WWE contract.
Oh, you mean like the only contracted WWE wrestler?
Yeah, I'm lying though.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's so.
I met the Bella Twins at WrestleJam. Not WrestleJam. What was it called?
Oh, no, it was CTWE.
Yeah, Connecticut. Anyway,
Biff met the Bella Divas pretty recently too.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
somebody kept trying to say they're not wearing any underwear. They're not wearing any underwear. Like, what am I gonna do? Go backstage and check? Like, I even fucking care?
Who said that?
I'm not gonna say. It was Anthony Green.
I knew you were gonna say Anthony Green.
Not wearing any underwear. They're not wearing underwear. Who cares?
That kid needs to wear some underwear.
He needs to wear some underwear. AG, put on some fucking underwear. Yeah, so the CZW Tag Team Champions against the premier tag team in Beyond Wrestling. I think that's a good match. And like I said, the dichotomy, they're very entertaining. They're great wrestlers. Bill Carr, somebody who got to train with some of the greats when he was under contract at WWE. Always heavily scouted. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. And John Silver, Alex Reynolds, two young guys. Sky's the limit for them. So I like tag teams, and we've got a lot of tag team action on this show.
Speaking of, there's also another tag team match that's been signed for Feeding Frenzy.
No, we signed one more. That's too many tag team matches.
I don't know, but when I was online earlier, it said challenge accepted.
What tag match is it?
Juicy Product?
Oh, damn, I wasn't even thinking about that tag match. I was thinking about the Dickinson tag match. We were going to run JT and a partner of his choice. Obviously, he teams with David Starr against Green Ant, and a partner of his choice. Obviously, he teams with Fire Ant to kind of build off Tournament for Tomorrow 2 finals, which was a really good match to headline a show. They were in a tough spot after an Iron Man match, after the women's matches, after fucking Dickinson and Ciampa, after Elgin and Jaka, after the tag team gauntlet. The fans could have very well been tired, but they were up on their feet and electric for JT Dunn versus Green Ant.
There was no chairs.
Well, technically, I meant up on their feet in a metaphorical sense.
Oh, okay.
So I thought to build off that would be awesome to kind of raise the stakes and do a tag team match. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately for Beyond Wrestling in our advertised lineup, but very fortunately for Green Ant, he's been afforded the opportunity to go compete over in Japan. So we had to reschedule the match, and taking the place of the Colony are the Young Bucks.
Oh.
No, it's not the Young Bucks, it's the Hooligans. So stop fucking asking for the Young Bucks to come in, because I can't book them. I reach out to them every day, and guess what? They're wrestling everywhere else because they're the most popular tag team in the world.
Well, let's explain who these Hooligans are. I've heard some good things about
them. Yeah, the Hooligans are awesome. The Hooligans are awesome. They're probably the top up-and-coming tag team in the United States. They're blowing up everywhere. They're really starting to branch out of the Midwest, and it's cool that we have an opportunity to bring them to the East Coast. I don't know if it's for the very first time. Certainly the first time to Providence. Certainly the first time to a Beyond Wrestling live event. And my favorite thing about the Hooligans is that, to me, wrestling is all about expectations. And when you take a look at the Hooligans, honestly, you may say like, these guys are wearing baggy clothes and, they got guts. So these guys aren't athletes. And so you're immediately going to tune out. But if you do that, you're going to be missing out on something incredible, because they are two of the best finesse wrestlers out there right now. So certainly don't judge a book by its cover. And I think that, a young tag team like JT Dunn and David Starr, they've been preparing for a match with the Colony. Now the dynamic of this match has drastically changed. So they better be on their A game because now they have to prepare for drastically different opponents.
Who's your pick in this match, Ned?
I think the first one. First one.
And there's your expert opinion.
Right. The first team, we're going to put bets. The first team that actually comes out and gets in the ring, that one's going to win.
Wow. Okay, you heard it here first.
Yeah,
if you're placing bets
sweet.
at FET,
Fat bets.
Ned's got his money on the juicy product. JT Dunn and
we
David
don't know if
Starr.
they come
No,
out
we don't know who
first
comes
yet,
out to the
brother.
ring first. It's whoever actually makes their entrance
Oh,
first.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was reading off the.
What if another team, sometimes like on Raw, like before a match starts, like somebody will come out?
This
Right.
is Beyond Wrestling. This isn't Raw.
It could be Raw.
Would you like to let everyone know about that other tag team match that you were thinking of?
Oh my god, this is such a bad idea. I hate putting matches like this together. Well, we were going back and we were discussing how the original lineup, Biff wasn't supposed to be wrestling Kevin Steen, but one of the reasons that changes is because the fans continued to ask for it based on the events that transpired at Tournament for Tomorrow. It's one of those situations. Hey, you know what? How about we give the fans what they want? Can't hurt. You guys usually know what's up.
Yeah.
I like to leave it to the fans to make the decision sometimes. It takes out some of the guesswork, and then if something bombs, I can be like, "Fuck you guys."
Also
you guys
makes
are
for
wrong.
great customer relations.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very true. So the fans wanted it. They wanted to see Chris Dickinson and Jaka, the Doom Patrol, reunited after a number of years.
I heard they were renaming themselves the Dirty Doom Patrol.
Where'd you hear that?
I just made that up.
They're going to be going up against Tommaso Ciampa and Michael Elgin.
DDP.
So those are like four maniacs. Those guys are all pretty crazy. Those guys are all really strong, and those guys are all filled with hate. And it's almost like a guarantee, like somebody's gonna get like super hurt.
Wow. You think?
I mean, yeah, I do.
Who's the strongest guy in that match?
I think Elgin.
Wow.
Weightlifting wise,
Yep.
I don't know if I
don't know.
by looks. I've never worked out. I don't know what they're doing out there.
Dickinson's
Aerobics are like.
pretty
but-
dirty.
Dickinson's so strong.
He's pretty dirty.
Speaking of Dirty Daddy, he's going to be a guest on our podcast the night after Feeding Frenzy.
Whoa.
That's what you think.
Who the hell do you think you are? I mean, really. Who the hell do you think you are, man? You think you're some sort of professional wrestler? You're nothing but my little jobber. I've stretched you. I can't even count on two hands how many times I've had to abuse you, boy. You're nothing but a little fucking queen.
He walks out there alive.
I don't know who's stronger, Dickinson or Elgin. That's the $1 million question. I mean, Ciampa's super strong. So is Jaka. Those guys are all really strong.
Press into the fucking ring and have them have a bench press competition.
Maybe we could have them do a match instead, the match that's advertised.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Then afterwards, the weightlifting contest. We got to get Stainless Steel. I don't know if you know who that is.
Oh, I know Stan.
Stanley?
The movie Strongman on Netflix. Check
it
out
out.
Stainless Steel.
Yep.
It's called
Nick
Strongman.
Well, when I suffer my untimely death, and when Tanya refuses to take over Beyond Wrestling, I guess it'll fall into Biff's hands. And so instead of seeing matches, we'll have weightlifting contests. But that's after my parents liquidate all the money that's in the PayPal.
Ned, who's going to win the tag team match?
I have no idea. Who do you
Okay.
think?
We've got the team of Michael Elgin and Tommaso Ciampa, two guys from Ring of Honor I think you're familiar with.
No,
we saw them.
Tommaso, yeah.
Against Dirty Daddy, Chris Dickinson, and Jaka, the Dirty Doom Patrol.
Wow. The DDP.
You know, I don't know. I don't know the last time that Elgin and Ciampa have teamed, if they have before. But Jaka, came out and blew that poison mist into the face of Tommaso Ciampa, which made a hell of a mess. We have not been able to get those stains out of the canvas.
How do they allow that in the building?
I don't know. I honestly was not expecting that whatsoever.
I think he snuck it
That's
in.
like anthrax kind of
And,
stuff.
Jaka spoke for the first time at length after his match with Michael Elgin. So we're certainly seeing a different side from Jaka. I mean, the first time we saw Jaka at Beyond Wrestling at FET, he faced Colt Cabana. The second time we saw him was in a six-man match with a lot of colorful characters. But I think that Jaka is starting to see some of the success that the Dirty Daddy, Chris Dickinson, has been able to achieve. And I think he's, turning back to his old ways.
I'm just showing Ned a little clip of Jaka blowing that green mist in Tommaso's face.
I mean,
at the last show.
it doesn't even dissipate for like a full 15 seconds. It's like the air just stayed green. And Ciampa, I mean, dude, there's no way that could feel good. Writhing in pain. I mean, he's one of the... Think of how... what is Tommaso Ciampa's career built on? It's based on how tough he is, especially when, he injured his knee and still gutted it out for that 2 out of 3 falls match. I mean, look at this guy. He's flopping around like a fish out of water, and that's one of the toughest guys that we have ever encountered in Beyond Wrestling. And
on a little bit more of a serious note, I let him use my socks, and the green mist stained the green socks. The white socks I let him borrow, and I was really pissed.
That's a serious note.
It's not just green mist; it's actually poison mist, and you can find that clip on Beyond Wrestling's page on YouTube. Wow. So watch it for free. And get an idea what you're getting yourself into if you haven't been to a show yet.
And then, so obviously, Jaka, Ciampa, Elgin, Dickinson, there's a lot of unresolved issues. And again, it's the type of match that I hate to run because of the risk involved, but, I got to defer to the fans' judgment. You guys want to see it? How can I say no? What else? Do we have any other matches? I feel like
we have a rematch of the year candidate.
No!
What?
Yo, that match is so sick.
What is it?
AR Fox versus Shinron from the studio taping. You were too good to be there, huh?
No, I don't know where I was.
Where were you?
I don't know.
You just don't even care about Beyond anymore.
No, really
I give you a match with Kevin Steen. You didn't even come to see the best match of the year.
Wow. Really? You thought that was the best match? Yeah, that's what the fans voted about.
It's because we forgot to put it out. No. Shinron and AR Fox had this unbelievable match to kick off tournament for tomorrow 2 weekend, which, that footage will find its way online at youtube.com/Beyond Wrestling. But they did so good that it's just like, hey, let's put this in front of our crazy, crazy crowd.
Explain to Superfan Ned who AR Fox and Shenron are.
All right, AR Fox is probably an Olympic caliber athlete that has decided to apply his skill set in the world of professional wrestling. One of the most premier high flyers, and not only that, but his resilience, his endurance, and just his athletic ability. There's nobody else out there like him. And Shinron is, in a lot of ways, a protege of AR Fox. He trained with AR Fox at the WWA4 Academy in Atlanta, Georgia, which, believe it or not, we're doing a taping there right now. And Shinron, unlike AR Fox, grew up as an actual gymnast. So I think that Shinron has even more of an athletic ability. I think that Shinron's potential could bring him to even greater heights than we've seen AR Fox. But Shinron lacks that experience. And AR Fox, we've seen him. He's a little bit cockier. Crap. And, with moves like that, how could you blame this guy for being cocky? He can back it up.
You just go to his MySpace page.
According to this video, he's got the MySpace going.
I mean, I think
the only one on there?
I think Teddy
2010.
Teddy pulled up a highlight video that's 4 years old, so... When Beyond Wrestling first started, we didn't even have a Facebook page. It was all on MySpace.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you still have a MySpace page?
If you go to myspace.com/Beyond Wrestling, I'm sure it's up, but I don't think it's been updated.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a pretty exciting match. Just a couple of high flyers bouncing all around. The fans really like that. I'm sure that Superfan Ned would really enjoy that match.
High flying is always great.
My grandpa's favorite matches are the multi-man to the high flying. He loves AR Fox.
There's a match we didn't mention featuring Anthony Stone going on against Mike Quest, and I believe a guy that he wrestled a couple of shows ago, Nicholas Cage.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of personal issues with those two. It's been a lot of personal issues between Anthony Stone and Nicholas Cage. Now, Nicholas
what the fuck is their problem?
I don't think it's Anthony Stone's problem as much as it is Nicholas Cage's problem.
Didn't he abduct him and rape him or something?
I don't think he raped him. I hope he didn't rape him. I mean,
it's consensual.
Let me put it like this, though. If you were raped, would you come forward and admit it? It's a very...
I would challenge a guy to a match at fucking Feeding Frenzy, beat the crap out of him. That's what I would do.
So you're saying because this match is happening. Well, he's wrestling Mike Quest, though, not Nicholas Cage.
Why is that?
Because Mike Quest tried to attack his kids at Point of No Return.
Whoa. Lame.
Son of a bitch.
Come on, man. You don't fuck with the guy's family.
No, you can't.
And Anthony Stone is such a proud family man, too. Yeah, it's like, hey, man, his sons come out, his wife come out. They buy tickets to the show. Don't scare them off.
Yeah, come on. What the fuck?
We need that support.
I think, is that it for the card?
No. But that's all we're going to talk about right now.
What?
Wow.
Well, before we go any further, I was thinking quickly, maybe we could ask Ned, the casual independent wrestling fan, his picks for each match. What do you think?
Yeah, name
all right, number one. We already did a...
I'm not know any of these people.
Hey, well, I think you're familiar with these two. We have Biff Busick going on against Kevin Steen from Ring of Honor. You know Kevin Steen.
I think I might have seen him once or twice. It all depends if his little boo-boo on his knee doesn't get better. I don't know what it's going to be like. I'd like to go for Biff Busick.
Yeah,
because he fights pretty dirty and he has the wingman on his side.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah. Why not?
I'm trying to see if there's
one last match.
How about the intergender match? What do you think? I know you're not familiar with the combatants, but Kimberly against Drew Gulak.
Who's taller?
Who is taller?
I think Drew Gulak's taller.
Not by much.
Okay. Who's got some brute force? Tall with
They've got to
brute
be
force.
pretty close.
Who's got that ruthless aggression?
In terms of weight, they've got to be pretty.
Who's gonna be
similar.
at that?
It's not like a total mismatch.
I got a quick question. Will Steve the Turtle wind up being in attendance? Because I saw his picture on the webpage.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I like Steve the Turtle.
You know, our intergender matches. It's not like Batista wrestling Kelly.
That'd be awesome. I want to see that.
You know, the women's wrestlers that are on the independent circuit tend to be a little bit bigger than the ones that you see on TV. The men tend to be a little smaller than what you see on TV. They're much more evenly contested than it may sound on paper.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Colorado, since we have gone over the card. I got a couple of questions for you I'd like to ask. And one of them is, you see...
Why are you not on the card?
I'm not booked.
Well, you don't know that. You could pop up in the feeding frenzy.
Maybe. I'm like Dennis Stamp, brother. You never know when you're going to get that call, you know? I'm just
No, he's on that trampoline.
I'm on the trampoline, just hanging and banging, just waiting for the call. But anyways, I'd like to ask you, since you are a fan of independent wrestling and you see a lot of up-and-comers, who do you think are a couple of people out there, male or female, who maybe could be, the next big thing, or maybe, going down to NXT or TNA?
Or how about
mainstream?
Beyond Wrestling?
Well, guys that are even in Beyond, or just, you see guys, we're just curious,
There's a competitor by the name of Danny Cannon that did the Beyond Wrestling studio taping. We did the pilot taping in St. Louis, and then we did a follow-up taping in December. And I had no idea who he was. I guess he had left wrestling for like a year and a half to pursue like legitimate real-life things. And I guess, he's got his shit in check, and now it's time to devote himself once again to professional wrestling. And I've seen clips of him popping up all over the place, and he is somebody that has the athletic ability, the presentation, and, I don't know his level of experience. I'm not too familiar with his work, but I'd like to get more familiar with that. I think that Danny Cannon is somebody that could be a force in the world of independent wrestling. That's somebody that we haven't worked with. Somebody that we have worked with, I think that Dirty Bucks Belmar is, like, completely hilarious and totally disgusting, and I would like to see him mix it up with somebody along the lines of like a Masada or a Kevin Steen, somebody that's really made a name for themselves in the world of independent wrestling, because he's the mind games that he plays, is typically absent when you see a lot of those competitors wrestle, like Dirty Bucks Belmar versus Johnny Gargano. I don't know if Johnny Gargano would appreciate, Dirty Bucks Belmar like slurping up the spit of the Phantom, like spitting it in his mouth.
Yeah,
that doesn't strike me as something that Gargano would go for. Yeah. So I think that Bucks Belmar is completely awesome, and I could be wrong, but I'm usually not. So I would definitely put my money behind him. As far as the women's side of things, man, Kimberly is really, really good. And, somebody asked me to do a write-up about her for this women's wrestling website, Ring Bells, because they were doing their 2013 End of the Year Awards. And I remember when I first took over operations of WSU, DJ Hyde was actually the first person to call me, and he's like, I've got a lot of great women's wrestlers that I work with. The only one that he was training with at the time was Kimberly, and he told me, I think that she has the potential to become the next Sarah Del Rey, which I thought was an absurd statement. But I definitely understand where he's coming from now after I've gotten more familiar with her work. And she's only a couple years in, and I think that this match against Drew Gulak is probably going to be the biggest test of her entire career. And somebody that's not going to be competing on the show, I think Barbie Hayden is great. She just won the NWA Women's Championship.
She's a cutie patootie, too, I hear.
Here, have you seen it? You don't know what she looks like.
All right, that's weird.
How's that weird? What do you guys don't think girls are good looking around here? What's going on?
I can't talk like that. I'm a promoter. I tell all the girls that I'm gay, so I don't have to deal with any of that
you
shit.
I thought you were.
Am I?
I don't know. That's dead.
Do you want me to come on your podcast? I don't want to make fun of the other guy. He's a good guy.
I love gay people.
Now I'm really confused.
Not like there's anything wrong with that.
No wonder why he awkwardly called a woman a cutie patootie.
I have a serious.
Yeah, that girl's such a cutie patootie.
No, that's a handsome looking woman.
Is this a... She is a powerhouse.
I have a serious question for you.
What? Well, no, I wanted to plug WSU now that we're talking about women's wrestling.
Do it.
So speaking of women's wrestling, we've got the WSU Mutiny card coming up. It's going to be on Saturday, February 8th, and it's going to be in Voorhees, New Jersey, as we're going to be partnering up with CGW. They're going to be featuring AJ Styles versus Drew Gulak on their card for the main event. And a lot of the guys that compete for Beyond Wrestling are going to be in action. We'll see Biff Busick in action if he's healed up by then, which he will be. And we'll see Chris Dickinson in action. We'll see JT Dunn and David Starr in action. Sozio. Plenty of guys that compete for Beyond Wrestling will be in action for CZW. And plenty of the great up-and-coming women's wrestlers. And then this monumental match we're going to have. This is a crazy match, dude. Jessica Havoc versus Alpha Female.
Ooh.
Did you check out Alpha Female after she got announced? She's 6'1", 190 pounds.
Wow.
A bruiser, a brute.
Is she from England?
She's from Germany.
Oh my lord.
And her and Jessica Havoc. I mean, if you take a look at the two, you can draw the obvious comparisons. So this is an awesome first time ever international dream match that we have the opportunity to present. And then, dude, this is my favorite match: Shauna and Dickinson against Candice LeRae and Joey Ryan. This is going to be a match that people are going to be so upset by because
are you pissed
those four competitors
have
no boundaries whatsoever, and this is just going to be a match dedicated to absolute sleaze. So if you can't get down to Voorhees, New Jersey for that doubleheader, you can watch online, not for free, but on iPay-per-view, that's still a thing, at czwippv.com, and the crew at RF Video has done an outstanding job. Virtually no technical issues with their shows. They're definitely ahead of the curve, so make it a point if you can't be there in person, or if you're saving up your money to come to Beyond Wrestling live the following weekend, at least check it out. I think it's only $15 or $20 for the iPay-per-views. It's a pretty good deal to see AJ Styles versus Drew Gulak.
Why did you say it like that?
That was me impersonating you.
Voice? I thought so.
Cutie patootie. I have a question for you. Why are you such an asshole? I have a real question. All right. Where do you see the future of Beyond Wrestling in 2014? Because we are in January now, and I want to know what different things are going to happen this year as opposed to last year, a breakout year for Beyond Wrestling.
You booking the Young Bucks is what he's trying to ask.
Yeah, I'm booking the Young Bucks. As soon as the Young Bucks are available, they will make their debut for Beyond Wrestling. So
in 2014.
I may be booked solid until 2016. I don't know. Whenever we have the opportunity to. What do I see for Beyond Wrestling in 2014? More live shows at FET. We ran every other month last year. I'd like to get to the point where we can run once a month.
Wow.
This year.
That's huge.
This kid's not even listening to the answers to the question. Did you pull up boobs or dicks on your phone? That's why.
Foops.
Foops. What's that?
I don't know.
Oh, that's gross. You like that? You like jiggly bellies?
You know what? I want to hear your answer.
That's a cutie. That's a cutie for Pootie right there.
I want to run more live shows at FET. I want to have bigger crowds, and I want to have bigger lineups. I want to push Beyond Wrestling to see as far as we can go. And not only that, though, the part that the fans can't interact with directly, the studio tapings, I mean, I mentioned it briefly, but right now I'm doing a podcast with you. Simultaneously, we're running a Beyond Wrestling studio taping in Atlanta, Georgia at the WWA 4 Academy. We're not even there. I've got to put the people that I trust in charge of these things. But we've got satellite promotions, a.k.a. the sleeper cells that have been popping up. We did one in St. Louis. We did one in Orlando. We did one in Kingsport, Tennessee. Now we've got one in Atlanta. We just did a taping in Blackwood, New Jersey. We've got one coming up in North Andover, Massachusetts. We've gotten offers in Virginia and Indiana. You know who I am? I'm like the Vince McMahon of the Indies.
You're like
I'm putting all the territories under. Yeah.
Who do you think you are?
I just saw the Vince McMahon of the Indies. Except I don't want to push crushed leaves into anybody.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Did you ever hear that story?
No. I don't want to
We were watching. You don't want to hear about it? We were watching this Vince McMahon documentary last night. I remember back in 2000 or 2001, he did an interview where he said he wanted to push crushed leaves inside somebody. I couldn't remember the context, so I didn't tell Biff last night. So I messaged my buddy who's got a great memory, and as soon as I fucking wake up today, in my inbox is a link to this article that he did for Playboy magazine, where he talks about his sexual abuse growing up and how he lost his virginity at age 6 while he was in the first grade.
Who did?
Vince McMahon.
What?
And he talks about how him and his cousin used to get naked, his female cousin, and go in the woods together, and how he wanted to push crushed leaves inside of her.
Life sucks, and then you die.
What? And I assume that this is the way he would. I don't know what kind of hand configuration you would push leaves with. I feel like it would really I don't think this would work.
Nah, you'd have to use a funnel and just kind of pry it through.
Wow.
So, like a tampon.
Well, on that note,
maybe
yow. It's like an organic tampon.
I think it's about time that we hit him with the old shebang, the old go home.
That's it?
Are we doing word association today?
Nah.
Well, where do you see Beyond Wrestling going this year? Then we'll wrap it up with that.
I see big things for Beyond Wrestling.
Wow, cool answer. Let's wrap it up.
I don't know, but I heard Mark Sherman. Mark
You
Sherman.
love talking about you.
Mark
talk about
Sherman's.
every
Mark
episode.
Sherman did express to me he's hoping to win at least one match in Beyond Wrestling this year.
Mark Sherman.
I thought he hated Beyond Wrestling.
Mark Sherman is Teddy's favorite wrestler.
Yeah, he's my favorite wrestler
Talks about him every
too.
episode.
Sherman is so funny.
Yes, he's a funny guy.
Was he at the XWA show we were at last weekend?
No, he's not.
Imagine if he was, how much greater it would have been. I'll settle for the Candyman though.
Well, we need you to leave us with something poignant, with
Something profound?
with something that will leave the people being like, "Holy shit!"
That I like to do a podcast that's kind of silly to shake the rust from my last set of podcasts, and we did that Thursday night while you were here, and that girl was here.
Oh, the stripper.
The stripper.
What was his name again? Donald? Was it Donald?
Sherpin, Mark Sherpin.
Mark Sherman.
He looks great with those tassels on.
And, basically the way it works with Beyond Wrestling is it's an organization that's run by fans who just happen to be mostly wrestlers. And if you support Beyond Wrestling, in return, Beyond Wrestling will support the fans.
Oh,
Is that profound?
I like that.
It's good enough. It's good enough to close on.
Well, you know what? This was probably the worst fucking podcast I've ever done, but it was very informative, so I enjoyed it.
Well,
Because of that.
should I get the plugs in? Should I do it?
I enjoyed it. Give it all the plugs. Pull them out, stick them in, do what you gotta do.
Well, we still got a couple spots for our secret shows that are happening on Valentine's Day, February 14th. What do you gotta go? You ain't got nowhere to fucking go but Beyond Wrestling.
I'll be there.
Me too.
What if he's gonna spend Valentine's with a cutie patootie?
Hey, I'd like to.
I don't think I booked any girls for the tapings.
Really?
You're screwed. All of that sexual aggression is gonna have to be channeled on the fans.
Ugh.
Push leaves inside of them.
Whoa.
So February 14th and 15th, if you want to have leaves pushed inside of you, we're running secret shows. If you want to know where and when and who's going to be competing, email beyondwrestling@gmail.com. That's all we're telling you about them. And those will be the precursors to the Feeding Frenzy. It's a secret. The Feeding Frenzy at Fet Music in Providence, Rhode Island.
Tickets available.
On Sunday, February 16th, tickets available at lookmanofans.com. $15 in advance, $20 at the door, day of show. Definitely get them ahead of time. That way we know, like, oh shit, should we add this like really awesome guy last minute that we're not sure if we can afford his booking fee, but he just hit me up and he wrestles for TNA? I don't know. I'm just that got a little too specific.
Yeah, what?
But yeah, no, it's really important if you're going to be buying tickets to get them ahead of time. One, you'll save money, and two, if any opportunities like that ever present themselves, if we have the resources, those are fun surprises that we get to pull the triggers on. But you never know about that. If you want to buy them at the door, it's $20 day of show. You'll be able to get them at the FET box office. You can go through the FET website, but I prefer lookmanofans.com. I like to be in charge of my own ticketing.
We're selling them at the Wing Mansion too, aren't we?
Biff and Ted does have tickets for sale for a discounted door price, actually. So if you want to save a couple of bucks, you should hit us up.
You want to come by, you can watch Apple TV.
Yep.
We'll pull up, some great great moments from previous Royal Rumbles.
Yep.
You can sit with some dudes that haven't showered in about a week.
Yep.
You might be able to help Biff with some of the chores around the house. You might be able to move a couch up the stairs and in the process rip off the landing and the coat rack. You never know what's going to go on at the ladies' match. You never know who's going to drop by.
Today, Ned and I moved a giant couch, and something really big in glass fell and just missed his head by a half an inch.
You almost knocked down the TV.
Yeah.
I almost had this pretty sweet scar.
You know how we do it.
Well, Ned, what do you want to leave us with?
Nothing.
All right. Well, thanks, Ned.
Actually, I do.
Oh, okay.
Who do you think would win in a thumb wrestling competition? You or the ladies' man?
Me.
Wow.
Wow. Well, they'll have to tune in for next week to see the results.
Now we have to videotape this and put it on Facebook.
We will.
Okay.
What are we going to say? What are you leaving us with?
Denver, Colorado could be the special guest referee, but you have to wear the same shorts that Shawn Michaels wore when he was the special guest referee.
I own those. I own those exact pair. Why are you even questioning
The
this?
short biker shorts.
Well, I'm going to leave on this note. I will be at Beyond Wrestling in one form or another. I might just play dress up and have a couple of beers, or maybe I'll just force my way into that feeding frenzy or something. You never know what's going to happen.
Bring a bag of leaves with you. Well, that being said, I got 2 words for you, Denver, Colorado. Suck it.